These statements that are made, the submissions that have been made in the Supreme Court are not very dissimilar from the statements that have come from the central government in the past 4 years. So I'm disappointed, not because of J&K, but partly because of judiciary. This is the highest pedestal of judiciary. And if they ask a question and the answer is same, as ambiguous as it was 4 years back, as evasive as it was 4 years back, then I think it's a matter of concern.
There has been no, again, timeline given to this.
That's what I'm saying. There is no timeline. There is absolutely no timeline. And even the arguments being presented, I'm not a lawyer, but I see a lot of political arguments, but no legal argument. And to be very honest with you, if, for example, I'm using the word if, and if we accept whatever the government of India has to say, that there were problems in J&K, development, employment, does that mean that every state in India whose indicators of employment and development are lagging will be converted into a UT? Is that the new norm? So we have to ask, these are very specious arguments, fallacious arguments, which in any court of law normally would not be accepted. And I hope and pray that legality prevails, justice prevails, and as has been apparently observed in the highest court, that constitutional challenges will be decided on the basis of what's written in the Constitution, not on the basis of these other arguments made, which are non-legal in nature.
Well, Sajad Lone, earlier most probably all political parties were demanding that government of India should hold the elections here. Now today they announced. Why you are not satisfied? Second, that do you think?
Hang on a moment. Yes. Can you give me a date? If you are so satisfied, can you give me a date? I did not find a date. If your TV company has found a date, please let me know also, because I have to fight. You don't have to fight. If you have discovered a date in those, then give me a date. I would love to hear a date.
And one thing the government of India will already give the answer, that it is the election of.
That we all know that that's in Kashmir. It's more of a such statements are sort of they're pretty non-democratic in nature, because if everything is okay, why aren't elections being held? So I don't see. I haven't discovered a date. If you have discovered one, you let me know.
Will it affect on abrogation of articles? Because hearings are going on. Abruptly, this statement come out from the government. How much it will affect?
It's all happening in the Supreme. It is all happening in the Supreme Court. As I told you, that we're very hopeful. The case is very strong. You don't need to be a great lawyer or a great genius or rocket scientist to actually see that the weight of the argument from both sides. How legally weighty one argument was, and how weightless in the context of legality the other argument is.
For a moment, okay, we accept they announced the election. But what about the restoration of the state?
That's what I'm saying, that even on statehood they are evasive. See, the bigger question, as I said, is that is J&K still a special state? And is this ill treatment just meant for J&K? Or would this be a new norm wherein states will be converted into UTs? This is something which Supreme Court probably needs to also think about, ponder about. And people of India especially need to ponder about.
What is your next step as a political actor?
We really can't do. What can we do? India, we are a very big country. There is a central government, and it seems that all the might of the central government is meant for the people of J&K. Why they are being denied democracy? Why people who don't belong to this state are ruling, calling the shots? While as in all the other states and even UTs, it is the people of those states who actually rule, who decide, good or bad. That's what democracy is all about. That's what it is all about. How we have evolved. We evolved by accepting the fault lines in our democracy and helped it to evolve over a period of last 7 decades. Nowhere in the history has there been intervention. If there have been any interventions, they are today remembered for notoriety, not for fame. For example, there was emergency. That was one thing, one place, I think, when there was an intervention. Otherwise, it has been a flawless evolution of democracy. And this will be another one, that you deny the people of J&K the right to elect their own rulers.
Do you still hope, after these the statements given by government about elections and duties, statehood status. Do you still believe the larger question, which is 370 and 35A, you have good hopes that something will
You
come?
see, the only hope that we have today in a very highly polarized society that we have in India today is the judiciary. You know, judiciary is supposed to be above polarization, is supposed to be above caste, creed, color, or whatever. It has to go within the ambit of law. That's the last hope.
My last question is that, since government has not set any timeline for statehood to be restored, for example, elections take place before the statehood is restored. How do you see that progress? Because a lot of leaders are saying that fighting elections in UT would not give any benefit to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And many have denied, even Umar Abdullah Mufti are saying that fighting elections when there is statehood, there is no statehood to Jammu and Kashmir, they will stay away from these posts. How do you see it?
I would say none of us, individually or collectively, is bigger than J&K. We should not walk into a trap. Maybe the government of India wants that everybody should stay away and they elect their own new band and create new stakeholders, who might be inimical to the interest of inimical to interest of J&K. I think let us all be humble, introspect, and not punch above our weight, and see that J&K is much bigger than all of us, individually and collectively. And I believe that stigmatizing electoral participation in UT is as much of a crime. That would be walking into a trap.